story begins with a businessman from San Francisco named Will Shaw, who was made to visit Spain for a holiday with his family. When he reached the airport, his father, Martin, came to pick him up. He worked with the government and the relationship between the father and son was not very good. But still, they left soon to join the family to start their holiday for a couple of days. On the way, Martin saw that Will was busy on his phone all the time. Soon they reached the dock where Will's mother, Liz, and the rest of the family welcomed him. Then at night, even during dinner, Will was continuously using his phone, seeing which Martin got very annoyed. The next day, Martin along with the whole family went out to sea on his yacht, but here too Will was busy on his phone the whole time, and due to his carelessness, Dara, the girlfriend of Will's brother Josh, got hurt. Because of this, Martin got angry and threw Will's phone in the sea. Now Will was also upset, so he asked Martin to take the yacht to the shore and went for a walk in the city. He left, and on the other hand, Martin saw that a small boat was roaming around their yacht since morning. When Will finally came back to the after roaming around, he did not see his family's yacht there. He looked around and even inquired from the nearby fishermen, but did not get any information. Seeing him worried, the local people advised him to go to the top of the hill and look, because from there, the view of the whole sea was clear. Will immediately went to the top of the hill, and from there, he managed to locate his family's yacht and quickly swam towards it, but he found that the yacht was completely empty. Seeing this, Will's heart sank because he realized that something is not right and prayed nothing bad would have happened here. Now Will left for the city without wasting time. He reached the police department and told them his family was missing, but no one seemed to care. But as soon as Will told his full name, there was a commotion, and all the policemen immediately started working. In a short while, the policemen took Will along and reached the place where their yacht was parked. There, Will saw a man was already waiting for them on the shore. Will realized that something was wrong, so he took the chance to get in one of the police cars and rode away. But unfortunately, the police gave chase and managed to catch him. Surprisingly, Martin came there at the last moment and beat up the police and freed Will. Martin then took along with him and went somewhere. On the way, he told Will that he works for the CIA. He has been working for the CIA for the past 20 years, and now he has something that the kidnappers want, because of which they kidnapped their family. Then Martin got a call from a woman named Carrick who used to work with him, and she asked Martin to meet her. But before going there, Martin brought Will to a different apartment of his about which he told that he got during his work as CIA. No one knew about this place, and he picked up a weapon from there and then left a message for a man named Diego before leaving to meet Carrick. At this time, on the roof of a building was a sniper preparing himself to execute his target. Martin brought Will along and told him to stay inside. He went out to meet Carrick, who reveals that she knows that the bad men have kidnapped his family, and he has to give them the suitcase so that he can save them. But she tells Martin that even though he was a friend, she couldn't give him the suitcase since she did not have it anymore. However, Martin thinks she is lying to him, and returns after telling her that he will keep in touch. But as soon as Martin reached his car, the sniper took action and shot Martin. Will freaked out as he saw this, and immediately went out to Martin, but then bullets started flying at him too. So he took out Martin's phone and his weapon, and immediately hid somewhere nearby. The phone rang, and Will picked up the call on which the kidnappers were calling his father by the name Tom, and told Will to come to the meeting point in 20 hours. But Will did not have time to think about all this, because the police reached the place, and were thinking he is the killer since he had a weapon on him. However, the sniper killed the police, and made it look like he was Will's accomplice. Even then, Will managed to get away, and entered a washroom, and calmed himself down and started thinking about the future plan. After this, he went straight to the embassy to ask for help, but they did not believe his story. This was because there was no data in their database about Martin. Instead, they told Will that he was accused of killing a policeman, and he came here telling this story to escape from them. So all they can help with is by providing him with a lawyer. At this time, Will was told that someone had come to meet him downstairs. On going down, Will saw that Carrick had come to meet him. She told Will that she was a really close friend of Martin, and she is the only one who can help him now. Carrick told him to quietly get in the car. Carrick said that Martin was in a top-secret case and he was in trouble because he took the suitcase. Carrick told him that once they reach her place, they will figure out a way to save his family. But Will felt something was amiss and he pretended to be unwell. Carrick felt disgusted and did not want him to puke inside her car, so she told him to get out and do it. But Will took this chance to push her men away and escape from the place. Will boarded a bus after dodging Carrick's goons, and then he thought about the call from the kidnappers. The kidnappers meant harm to his family, and since he did not know anything about Martin's work, Will noticed that Martin was calling a man named Diego repeatedly. So he decided to meet Diego, but as soon as he reached Diego's office, a man welcomed him saying he was Diego, and as they started talking, the receptionist girl named Lucia sprung towards Diego and killed him. She thought Will was his accomplice, and Will freaked out, saying why she killed Diego. Hearing this, Lucia tells him that he is not Diego and tells him to follow her. As they went up, Will held on to Lucia to stop her hearing shots fired. Diego was killed by someone, and since they are still inside, Will decided to confront them. He found that they were none other than Carrick and her companion. Will asked her why she killed Diego, and Carrick told him that Diego was working with the kidnappers, and he was the one who killed Martin. Hearing this, Lucia gets enraged and shoots at them. A fight ensues and Will takes her to the roof and he uses a cable to get her down, and she takes her scooter and they get away from the place. Meanwhile, Carrick feels frustrated for letting Will escape and she wants to kill him since he is the only witness for Martin's death. As Lucia drives her scooter, she notices Will wavering and he falls on the road, and only then did Lucia see that he had been shot. So she immediately takes him to one of her friends who has medical expertise and asks her to save him. She asks Will to stay awake and her friend treats him. Sometime later, Will regains consciousness. Lucia asked him what was going on and why her uncle Diego got killed, and what was that about him killing Tom. That is when she saw Martin's picture with him and asked how he knew Tom, but hearing Will call him Martin, she was confused and asked how they were related. Will was also surprised since she called him Tom and asked how she knew his father. Hearing this, Lucia gets shocked and reveals that Tom was her father. They realize that they are step-siblings. Will is shocked to hear this as well, and never thought he would be getting a sister at this age. Hearing the situation, Lucia asked to go along to help save his family, but this mission was very dangerous, so Will refused her to go with him. Lucia told Will to come find her at an address if he needs any help. After this, Will reached the meeting point given by the kidnapper. There, a man approaches Will to tell him to follow him and takes him along. Will follows the man inside a car where he is choked from behind and faints. When Will wakes up after some time, he is in the room with the kidnappers who have his family captured. Then the kidnapper tells Will that Martin had stolen a suitcase with confidential information that could topple the world. Martin also reveals that there were some traitors inside the CIA who could misuse this suitcase and wreak havoc in the whole world. But before he could hand over the suitcase to the higher-ups, Martin intervened and stole the suitcase from them. Will reveals that Martin and his friend Diego were both killed by a woman named Carrick, and she might be the one holding the suitcase. The kidnapper says that it is Will's responsibility to finish what his father had started in order to save his family. The kidnappers throw Will on the road and he goes to the address that Lucia gave him, which is a nightclub. Will goes inside and explains the situation to her. Her friends there offer to help him however they can to save his family. They tell Will to use his credit card at the club to lure out Carrick. Since it sounds like a good plan, Will does this, and in a short time Carrick's man reaches the club. To his surprise, Lucia's buddies catch him and beat him up. Will joins them and try to get Carrick's whereabouts from him, but their efforts are in vain. Seeing that he is running out of time, Will calls Lucia and the others outside and tells them to release the man. He thinks that the man will lead them to where Carrick is, and as he thought, the man takes his car and reaches where Carrick was. Will and Lucia reach a basement, and Will leaves her in the car to search for Carrick. He discovers that Carrick is meeting with potential buyers to sell the suitcase, but at this time, the kidnappers arrive at the basement and catch hold of Lucia. Then they come for Will and demand him to hand over the suitcase. Hearing the commotion, Carrick becomes alert and she kills the buyers in front. She runs away with the suitcase, but a heavy fight begins between the two parties. Will uses the chaos to save Lucia, but Carrick also uses the chaos to escape from the building. Will and Lucia give chase after Carrick, and they plan to bump into her car and stop her. But Carrick manages to lure Will to drive crashing into a store. Carrick walks out shooting at the onlookers and steals one of the cars. Will also manages to take one of the cars and gives chase after Carrick once again. But this time, he manages to hit her car, but Carrick overpowers him and hits his car, which makes Will's car overturn and crash on the road. Carrick started laughing loudly. She tells that she is a genius and poor Tom and his entire family became her scapegoat. No one will find out about the suitcase once she gets rid of Will. As she says this, she takes out her gun to shoot Will. But suddenly she stops and falls to the ground since someone else shot her. It turns out to be the kidnappers who managed to win and tracked Will down. They come to get the suitcase and the kidnapper himself takes Will to see his family. He reveals to Will that they are also a part of the CIA and were using the suitcase to lure out the mole among them, and they captured his family to keep them safe. He also says that Tom would be proud of Will. Hearing this, Will doesn't know what to say, but he goes out to save his family. The next day, Will is offered a job with the CIA to take his father's place, but Will refuses since he doesn't want to put his family in danger. Then Will asks the guy what was in that suitcase, but he does not reveal it to him. Sometime later, Will introduces Lucia to his family, and they accept Lucia as one in their family. And that is the end of this movie. Don't forget to subscribe before you watch the next recap. Thanks for watching.